What if I told you there's a sound people claim can repair your DNA? And right now, millions are meditating to it, sleeping to it, and calling it a miracle frequency. Sounds powerful, doesn't it? But here's the question that actually matters for you. If it was that powerful, why isn't every Olympic athlete, elite coach, and top CEO building their routine around it? Today, we're literally cutting through the noise. Welcome back to the Winning Edge Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Kev Oakley, and this is where we break down the tools, tactics, and strategies that build stronger, more resilient mindsets so you can perform at your best when it matters the most. In this episode, we dive into a topic that's exploded across performance and wellness circles: 528 Hertz. You might have heard it called the love frequency. You might have seen videos claiming it reduces stress, enhances healing, even repairs DNA. Some of that sounds incredible, and some of it sounds like hype. So today, I'm going to separate science from storytelling. More importantly, show you how to use sound, specifically 528 Hertz, as a performance tool that actually works in the real world. Let's get started with the episode. The real problem is state, not skill. If you're a high performer, your world looks like this: high pressure, constant decisions, performance anxiety, cognitive overload. Most of the time, your biggest limiter isn't your skill, it's your state, your nervous system. You activated and you overthink, tighten up and choke, too flat and you're slow, disengaged and underperform. So you go hunting for edges and shortcuts. And 528 Hertz gets marketed as one of those magic hacks. Instead of asking, is this frequency magical? The better question is, how can sound help me manage my state under pressure? What 528 Hertz actually is, let's strip it back. 528 Hertz is just a sound frequency, a tone you can hear. It's often grouped into a reconstructed Solfeggio scale that people have built a lot of stories around. You'll see claims that it can repair DNA, regenerate cells, heal your life. When you look at the evidence, here's the simple picture. Relaxing sound, including 528 Hertz music, can reduce stress, improve mood, and help you shift into a calmer, more regulated state. The big claims like DNA repair and unique miracle powers don't have solid support in real-world human performance. So, is 528 Hertz special? On its own, not really. But as part of a system to manage your state, it can be very useful. That's the key shift. Here's the mindset I want you to carry. Tools don't create performance, systems do. 528 Hertz is not powerful because of the number. It becomes powerful because of how you use it, what you pair it with, and how you consistently run the routine. Think of sound as a state regulator. On its own, it's just a track. When you combine it with breath, focus, mental rehearsal, and repetition, it can shape how you show up when it matters. Let's walk through a simple, tight set of protocols you can actually use. Protocol 1 is the pre-performance downshift. Use this 20 to 30 minutes before a high-pressure event. First step is you find a quiet spot. No multitasking, phone goes away. Put on a 528 Hertz instrumental track. It's important that it's got no lyrics, nothing too busy. Then breathe slowly. In through your nose for the count of 7. Out through your mouth for the count of 11. Soften your gaze. In other words, access your peripheral vision, or even just close your eyes. And stay with this for 8 to 12 minutes. You need to keep the volume down, keep it comfortable, nothing too loud or blasting. What does this do? It slows your heart rate, reduces stress activation, brings you into a calmer, more controlled state before you perform. You can use this before a big presentation, a big game, a big meeting, any situation where you usually feel amped up and tight. Protocol 2 is priming with visualization. Now we layer in mental rehearsal. Straight after or separately, you can run this for 5 to 10 minutes. Play 528 Hz quietly in the background. Close your eyes and visualize your performance vividly. Focus on process more than outcome. Your breathing, your body, the first steps or the first lines. See yourself handling pressure with composure. I always say with visualization, the more detailed, the more real, the better. But focus on the process. Here, visualization is doing most of the work. Sound is helping you to stay present and emotionally engaged instead of being dragged into direct distractions or anxiety. You're priming your brain and saying to yourself, when this moment comes, this is how I show up. Protocol 3, arousal calibration. Every performance has a sweet spot. Too anxious and you're jittery and error prone. Too relaxed and you're flat and disengaged. Your job is to find that middle zone where you feel alert but composed. Here's how you can use 528 Hz tactically. If you're too wired, choose a slow, gentle 520 Hz track. Soft, spacious, no heavy rhythm. Combine it with slower, longer exhales. Spend 5 minutes letting your shoulders drop and breath settle. If you're too flat, choose a slightly more rhythmic 528 Hz track, something with a little movement. Stand, walk, or do light activation drills while it plays. Use it to bring just enough energy up without tipping into frantic. You're using sound as a dial to nudge your state up or down towards your personal sweet spot. Protocol 4, the post-performance downshift. This is where most people lose their edge over time. They never truly switch off. They finish the event, but their brain is playing it long into the evening. To protect your recovery and mental bandwidth, you will build a post-performance downshift. And it looks a little bit like this. Once you've wrapped up and done any essential debrief, find a quiet spot. The second step is optional. Spend 2 minutes jotting down key lessons or wins so your brain doesn't chew on them later. Then lie down or recline. Play 528 Hz at a low volume. Let your breath return to normal. No effort here. No phone, no email, no extra input. And you should do this for about 10 to 15 minutes. You're telling your system, the threat is over. It's safe to recover now. This is how you protect longevity in high pressure environments. Protocol 5. This is state anchoring, and this is a little bit more advanced. This is the advanced layer that can really separate you from most people. We're going to use 528 Hz as a cue your brain associates with a specific performance state. And here's how you do it. First of all, you pick a specific 528 Hz track, just one. You use it consistently during focused practice or training when you're calm, present, and performing well. Also, I would say you can just put it on and go back to times when you've visualized times when you've been in that state. It's important that you only use that track for this specific state. Repeat the pairing over time. So same track, same state. Before real performances, play that track again in your pre-performance routine. Over time, your brain learns when this sound plays, we are focused, controlled, and in a confident mode. That particular 528 Hz track becomes a deliberate cue for your state when you want to access it on demand. Okay, so those are your 5 protocols. Let's make this real now, and with a simple blueprint you can test this week. Imagine you've got a big meeting, presentation, or performance. And this is the blueprint. 25 minutes out from your performance, run the pre-performance downshift to 528 Hz, slow breathing, no multitasking. Then, 10 minutes out, run a 5-minute visualization with the same or a similar track. Rehearse how you want to show up. Just before, play your anchored 528 Hz track, if you've built one, to cue that familiar state. Then, after, run a 10-minute post-performance downshift to close the loop and protect recovery. You're not relying on 528 Hz as magic. You're using it as a part of a structured system to manage your state. Okay, so the thoughts on 528 Hz. What do we think? It's a normal frequency. It's a useful tool for relaxation, focus, and state regulation, and a good option to build structured routines around. What it's not is a DNA repair switch. It's not a miracle hack that replaces training, coaching, or preparation. Your winning edge doesn't come from the frequency itself. It comes from how you consistently and intelligently use it inside a system. When you combine sound, breath, focus, and repetition, you build the ability to regulate your state under pressure. That's the real advantage. If this short episode of the Winning Edge Coach podcast gave you some clarity and maybe a protocol you're going to try, here's what I'd love you to do. First, share this episode with someone you know who operates under pressure, a teammate, a colleague, a client, someone who would benefit from having a simple way to manage their state. Second, make sure you subscribe to the Winning Edge Coach podcast on your preferred podcast platform. And finally, if you found this useful, it would help if you left a quick rating or review. It takes less than a minute and it helps the podcast reach a wider audience of people who want to perform at their best when it matters the most. Thanks for listening. I will catch up with you on the next episode of the podcast. And as always, keep building your winning edge.